If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love Wnst.net.
Marco, you got 5 minutes. You're on the clock, bro.
All right, thanks a lot, Nestor. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's great to be here. For those of you who have read my blogs on Wnst.net, you see I've been blogging about the Orioles pretty much on a daily basis. I'm going to go a little different here and talk about two things. I'd like to discuss Maryland basketball, namely Lance Born-Ready Stevenson and the Terps recruit. And I'll touch base a little bit on the Ravens in the NFL draft. We have the 26th pick. Should they go offense? Should they go defense? Should they go with the best player available? I'll talk about all that. But first on to the Terps. Many Terps fans out there, including myself, were surprised with how well the Terps did this year. I didn't expect 20 wins from this team at all. Truthfully, I didn't even expect them to finish 500. I thought they would finish towards the bottom of the ACC, and I thought that, you know, mid-season after that 41-point loss, that Gary could be gone. Gary's a great coach, but everybody knocks his recruiting, and I do believe that they should bring in some more big-time recruits. That being said, you have to find the guy who's the right fit. They made an offer to Lance Stevenson, and for those of you who don't know anything about Lance Stevenson, let me give you a little background on him. First off, the guy's an absolute head case, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. He's from Lincoln High, which is actually where James Padgett, who's coming in to play for the Terps next year, is from. And if you remember Sebastian Telfair, who jumped right from Lincoln High, and I believe got drafted number 13 by the Portland Trailblazers a few years ago, he went there as well. Stevenson at Lincoln High shattered all of Telfair's scoring records. He also shattered some of Stephon Marbury's New York City scoring records, and they're both from Coney Island. Both of their games are very comparable. Everybody who sees him compares him to Stephon Marbury. Stevenson's a little bit taller. There's really no denying the guy's on-the-court prowess. He's an absolute beast on the court. It's off the court where the issue is. If you think this guy's going to help turn around the Terps program and take it back to where it was in the days of Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter, you've got another thing coming. Stevenson calls himself born ready. The guy pretty much only cares about himself. Anybody who calls a press conference at the McDonald's All-American game to announce that he's going to delay making a decision for another 2 weeks, obviously doesn't have the best interests of either of the schools that he's looking at in mind. Right now, he currently is leaning towards Kansas. With the whole John Calipari coaching change and people transferring to different schools, it's looking like Kansas might not have a scholarship for him. So then Maryland and St. John's are next on his list. Stevenson has made it known that he's only going to be wherever he decides to go for 1 year. Bringing him in would mean that there's going to be an absolute circus. He's from New York. His family will come down and watch him every game, and his friends will be whispering in his ear constantly every game. And you don't want the same situation that you had with Gus Gilchrist, where he was asking for a job for his friend in the athletic program, to happen with Lance Stevenson. I like to think, talent-wise, he's comparable to Steve Francis, but off the court, I think his ego might be bigger than John Gilchrist, if that's possible, and that's not what Maryland needs right now. I think if they need to bring in somebody, they should look no further than Terrell Vincent at St. Francis. Vincent wants to go there. He's played under Mark Karcher. St. Francis won the MIA and the BCL title this year, and all they need is a scholarship to open up for him. He'll be there for three and a half, maybe 4 years, and definitely he's the one that could bring this program back to where it was in the early part of this century. Moving on, though, the NFL draft is a mere 10 days away. And the Ravens have the number 26 pick. Everybody's got their fair share of who they should draft. Everybody thinks they know what's best. Do we go linebacker? Do we go cornerback? Do we go offensive line? We have issues at a lot of different places, but I feel we've addressed the cornerback issues. I think you have to get Joe Flacco some weapons. You have to get some playmakers in. Everybody's high on Hakeem Nicks here, and I think it's just basically based on his speed and the local ties is the reason why everybody likes him. I personally am high on Kenny Britt, and I like Kenny Britt and Hakeem Nicks. I think if you look at Hayward Bay, he's too raw. I mean, he's a speed guy, but Patrick Johnson was a speed guy. We brought him in. He's tall. Clarence Moore was tall. We brought him in, and we all saw where they are. Kenny Britt and Hakeem Nicks might not have the speed of Hayward Bay, but if you look at receivers like Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, Marvin Harrison, and even Larry Fitzgerald, they've shown that you don't have to run blazing 40 times to be some of the best receivers in the game. Personally, I think you have to go wide receiver. If you look at the reason why the Ravens were able to lose to the Steelers 3 times last year, it's because the Steelers had a player like Santonio Holmes, and we didn't. I love Derek Mason. I think he deserves to be in the Ravens' Ring of Honor. I appreciate everything he's done. He can't stretch the field. You got to get Joe Flacco some weapons, and I don't think Hayward Bay would be the fit. I think you need to go with, I personally like Kenny Britt. I think Hakeem Nicks has been a little too undisciplined in the offseason, putting on too much weight. But either way, you got to bring in somebody, and they can make the difference between us getting over the hump and going back to the Super Bowl. Thanks a lot. Thanks for listening, Baltimore, and that's all the time I have for today.
Well done, well done.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love Wnst.net.